has been a month since you said these changes were coming. The tech blogs skewered you this week, saying the changes hadn't happened yet. So why did it take so long?
Well, I think let me start by saying that for things to work at DoorDash, it has to work for millions of consumers, hundreds of thousands of merchants, and hundreds of thousands of Dashers. So this is a very consequential change, and it's something that we always work on. But the day that I announced that we would be making a change about a month ago, teams worked that day around the clock every day, and we've been talking to consumers, we've been talking to Dashers, we've been talking to third parties, validating what we're doing. We've actually shipped the model for over a week now, so it's already been out in the wild testing. And that's why we've taken some time to make sure that we're doing something so important correctly.
So what are the changes? What's the new policy?
So under this new model, there's base pay, which has nothing to do with tips. It'll never vary based on tips. There will be tips on top, and there will be promotional bonuses. Under this new model, every $1 that a customer tips will be an extra $1 in the Dasher's pocket. Now, this does mean that there's going to be greater variability, because in the old model, we did take care of the Dasher when there was no tip. But in order to offset that, we're going to increase base pay across all orders. Orders that have tips, orders that don't have tips. That means that on average, Dashers are going to make more money in this new model. And we're going to keep that transparency that we've always had, which means we're going to show every piece of information about an order. Where's the restaurant? Where's the drop-off? What's the amount paid for this delivery up front?
Now, you do have workers out there telling Recode, telling Business Insider that nothing has changed. What's your response to that?
Well, we've been talking to Dashers, and we've been shipping this new model for a really long time. I mean, this change was difficult. I mean, there are lots of Dashers, who really like the old model. They like that consistency. So we had to make sure that as we shipped a new model, that we would constantly do it in concert with consumers and Dashers, and that and that's exactly how the rollout's going to happen. It's already rolled out, and we'll be rolling out more versions and more improvements of it in the future.
Now, I know I ask you this question every time you come on, but there are continued questions about how sustainable this on-demand food delivery model can be. Can you earn a living wage and be a Dasher or work for Uber Eats or any of these food delivery companies, just like can you earn a living wage as an Uber driver or a Lyft driver? Some of these workers, they're contract workers, they're not entitled to minimum wage. They say they're making like $8 an hour. Is that sustainable for them and for you when you're also trying to raise their pay? How do you make this model actually work long term?
Yeah, I think to start, it's important to understand who these types of workers are. 80% of them have jobs, especially when they're delivering, on DoorDash. And, on average, they're working 3 hours or fewer per week. Mm-hmm. And in 2018, Dashers on the platform earned $17.50 an hour. Now, look, I think there's a lot that we have to do for these workers. For example, it's not just about pay. That's a very critical ingredient. But DoorDash was the first national platform, for instance, to offer occupational accident insurance. So we'll take care of Dashers. There isn't an opt-in. We're going to make sure they have it. It's free of charge. We have a Dasher Community Council in which we take all considerations in. It's not just about the pay model, but also product changes to make sure that it keeps getting better for them.
Meantime, you've been making some acquisitions. Reports this week that you bought a self-driving car technology company, Scotty Labs. What's the vision there? Are we going to? Does that mean no Dashers? Does that mean an autonomous car is going to bring me my food?
Well, we're always working at DoorDash on technologies that solve real problems for consumers, merchants, and Dashers. And we're looking at how technology can enhance a Dasher, enhance a merchant, and in order to offer a better experience for customers. So we don't have any news to share today about some of the latest technologies that we've been working on. But I have to say that it's every day it's about solving problems at the intersection of how technology and humans work together.
You also bought Caviar, food delivery company from Square. How will that be integrated into the existing DoorDash platform?
Yeah, we're very excited about Caviar. I know it's a service that you may have used. To start, it's always about adding to restaurant selection at DoorDash. DoorDash today has the largest breadth of selection of any platform out there, and Caviar is independent stores that are a bit more premium in brands. We're very excited to onboard, those restaurants. Caviar also plays in different geographies than DoorDash, and we think that's a nice complement complement. As DoorDash started in the suburbs, Caviar's primary focus has been in cities like Manhattan or San Francisco and Chicago. So we're very excited about that complementary focus. And finally, we're excited about the team. We've known the team for a few years now, and we're excited to be partners soon.
You've taken a big round of funding from SoftBank. How are you spending that money, and how are you growing the business slowly but surely?
Well, I think the first thing is always to remain disciplined, and it's not about the money. No one ever says you have to spend it. For us, it's really about making sure that we keep doing what's best for consumers, merchants, and Dashers, and if we can work on those products, the rest will take care of itself.
So how do you see the competitive landscape changing? I mean, Uber Eats is obviously growing. You've got Postmates potentially going public soon. You've got changes happening in the food delivery market in Europe. You've got changes happening in the grocery delivery market. Some companies doing well, huge companies jumping in, other companies struggling. How does this play out, and what is DoorDash's role in it?
Well, we've always had a saying at DoorDash to be customer obsessed, not competitor focused, because I think literally you could, study this, for hours and days and not end. What I'd say is we're at the beginnings of a huge economic transformation. I don't think people realize that even if you added up all the leading platforms in the US, that's less than 3% of the restaurant industry. If you looked at something like pizza, over half of pizza sales are delivered today in the US. So we're at the early stages of something huge, and I think a lot of people are recognizing that. DoorDash is leading the way today, but if we keep focusing on our consumers, merchants, and Dashers, we'll be fine.